Woodbury Hill. How about that? Good evening. This is the November regular session of the McDowell County Board of Education. It's Monday, November the 6th, and we're going to get started with this evening's meeting. And the first item is approval of our agenda this evening. And board, what is your pleasure on that? There are no amendments to the agenda. So is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda.
Mr. Suttles makes the motion.
Eddie.
Mr. Shuford makes the second. Is there any discussion? If not, then all in favor, right hand, and the motion carries. It's become our custom as we join together here as a community to take just a few moments before we begin our business session to still ourselves and take a moment of silence to think about what lies ahead and what has gone behind. So would you join us, please, for a moment? Thank you. Thank you. It's also our custom to have our NJROTC cadets from McDowell High School present our colors this evening. And Captain Ross, would you kindly introduce our cadets this evening?
Four cadets are Cadets Loftus, Hammond, Revis, and Harris.
Thank you. Folks, if you'll join us, we'll entertain the colors.
Color guard. Attention. Carry. Colors. Ready. Cut. Forward. March. Color guard. Halt. Right. Face. Present. Colors.
Please join me in a pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Colors. Left. Face. Forward. March. Color guard. Halt. Right. Face. Post the colors. Left. Face. Forward. March.
I'd like to say a couple words before I slip out. I'd like to bring the board's attention to the fact the marksmanship team continues to excel. Some of you had the chance to come to the match we had in this last month, October. It was probably the largest match in the East Coast of the United States. We had over 300 cadets there, and McDowell placed first. We were happy with that.
All right.
The one highlight of that whole thing is we managed to beat a school called Nation Ford, which was over the past several years been all-service national champion across the JRTC. So the cadets are shooting very well.
Good.
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll move along then. Item 5 is superintendent remarks, and Dr. Gritt, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. Thank you, Chairman English, ladies and gentlemen of the board, folks out there. Excited about this week. Excited about getting started here with the with our meeting tonight. This is an important meeting. November's a special time, especially for those servicemen and women. So November the 11th, 2023, that's Veterans Day. Our schools will be closed in honor of Veterans Day on Friday, November the 10th. Many of our schools will honor our veterans this Wednesday and Thursday of this week. On this Veterans Day, we will honor all servicemen and women. If you are a service member with us tonight, please stand. Please stand. Remain standing just for a few minutes. On behalf of the McDowell County Schools, thank you for your service to our great nation and for the sacrifices you and your families made to defend our freedom and protect our democracy so that we can have such meetings as this where we are free to speak our voice, our opinions on how to educate our students best. We sincerely thank you and appreciate your service. Please join me in applauding this group again. Thank you. Tonight, folks, you're in for a treat. We've got quite a few things going on. We have some special recognitions, and you'll hear about the state level and national level work going on right here in McDowell County Schools. Captain Ross kind of stole our thunder a little bit there, but I'd rather him say that than anybody in this room. Our NJROTC marksmanship team obviously had a very successful match. They're well on their way, folks. I look forward to seeing great things come out of them. As well as our seasons, coming to a close. Our volleyball team and our tennis teams made it to the state playoffs, while our cross-country and golf teams competed in the regional rounds to wrap up their seasons. November marks the turn from fall sports to winter sports, and our student athletes are preparing now for the upcoming seasons. This weekend, we welcomed our Danish sister school. I got to try to say all this right. The Duborgs, 20 exchange students from Flensburg, Germany. Now, I did ask Germany and Danish. I was still trying to get all that straight, but I think Mr. Spivey's got me straight on it. So we welcomed them to our community and our volunteers into their homes. Mr. Spivey, Miss Bennett, Miss Robinson, and a team headed this up, and they do a great job of offering a unique opportunity for our students and for theirs. We look forward to our students making that trip soon. I will say that is something that is special to McDowell County. That's one of those that I didn't see that in some of the other districts I've been in, and something very, very special here going on with that. It's a great thing we have going. I know there's a lot of sacrifice involved in that, but it's time well spent. November also marks a quarter of a year for me as the superintendent. Who's counting, right? I continue to be impressed with the work that's going on in our district. How many new superintendents get to talk about national recognition? That is a testament to the work done long before I arrived, and I'm happy to be part of the team. In a quarter year, we've revised and established a working strategic plan while ensuring that the board's 4 major areas were in front and center of our work. Universal Pre-K, where we are committed to keeping the program. Ms. Rampy and her team are hard at work with Ms. Hamby, Ms. Dowdle, along with the budget committee to show us how this can happen. Our student discipline and alternative school, we completed a new student code of conduct this year, including threat assessments, and worked behind the scenes with our attorneys to train our principals. Mr. Spivey, excuse me, and a team of staff members have worked with Ms. McCarthy and Ms. Hamby to take a deep dive into this, and tonight you'll have a presentation on that. Teacher and staff morale. That's another one. That was a little bit tougher to put a pin in, but Ms. Dowdle's presentation highlights some of the positive work going on in our schools and the impact we're having beyond McDowell County. We kicked the year off with a fantastic convocation. From there, we've continued this work, which can be seen weekly as we're advertising the positives in our school through the newspaper, our social media tools, and we've extended invitations to parents and faith-based friends into our schools to volunteer and support. We're recognizing our former students in Alumni Spotlight, and in December, we'll begin having our schools on the radio every week. Staff morale is a broad topic, and it can also be linked to updates in the student discipline practices, consistency from our principals, and support from the district offer. We are continuing to work here, and I'm hearing positive from our staff about the work that's being done in our schools. The final area, maintenance, where we're making a great deal of progress working through the many updates to our facilities. We highlight the work of our maintenance team through Mr. Oliver's updates to the board as well as to the staff in the weekly cabinet notes. Transparency here seems to be helping. I think it's important to highlight the great work that's going on. Tonight you'll see more progress, and we'll be requesting board support for the upgrades to our athletic gym facilities. Mr. Suttles and the Buildings and Grounds Committee have also been guiding a light in supporting this work. They will have an update for you this evening as well. It's been a whirlwind of a quarter for our team, and I want to personally thank our staff for their hard work and dedication to our system. The hard work has not gone unnoticed, and also thank you to the board for this opportunity and your direction and your support to accomplish the goals established. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Grit, while you have the floor, we do have some special recognitions this evening, and perhaps you could lead those as well.
Yes, sir. Let's see. So many of them, I got to get organized here. The first one is Miss Robinson here. Oh, there you are. Come up and join me, please. Right here. All right. So this first award tonight is one that we've known about for a while. This is the McDowell Early College. This is the Best High Schools U.S. News National Award. This is for the 2023-2024 school year. We could have ordered a banner, but I thought maybe this might be a little better considering your space. Just to be completely honest with you folks, this school has done an outstanding job. And if you have a chance to read this Newsweek article, what it talks about is being in the top 40 schools in the state of North Carolina and being recognized on a national level for their outstanding work. And one of those areas is their dropouts. All right, when you have 0 students that are dropping out of school, you get awards. There's just no way around it, and you should get an award. So, congratulations.
Thank you. I don't ever let a moment go by that, this is not about me. This is about my teachers and my students, and especially my students. And I never, leave a chance to say it's all about relationships. And this is year 18 for me. This board, some of you anyway, trusted me 18 years ago on this journey as a principal. And I will say that it has been a great journey, and I continue to stay. So thank you.
And I'll ask you guys when you come up just to stand with us for a few minutes. Next up, Old Fort Elementary, Ms. Jill Ward. So presented to Old Fort Elementary School, Ms. Jill Ward. This is a North Carolina Distinguished School Award. Was it last week?
It was.
Feels like a month ago, doesn't it? Man, it's been busy. This was an award that was only given to a handful of schools throughout North Carolina, and Old Fort Elementary was recognized for their outstanding work with students with disabilities and closing the achievement gap. This was an opportunity to be able to represent our schools in DC. We were just about this close to being able to do that, but being recognized at this level is huge. So you're one of the top 10 schools in North Carolina for this. They gave us a rank order. I don't want to tell them exactly where you were, but you were right there at the cusp of it. So I want to leave that door open. So there's room for it next year too. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I want to echo what Lisa said. This isn't about me. I want to recognize my team that's here tonight. If you're from Old Fort Elementary School, please stand up, because these are the people that put the hard work in every day. Thank you so much.
All right, and last but not least, this is for our Principal of the Year, Miss Melora Bennett. If you want to come on up, Miss Bennett. So, our Principal of the Year, that's something we do special every single year. Miss Bennett is very deserving of this award. When I was talking about that national recognition just a few minutes ago that we had at the early college, Miss Bennett's been doing some of that on her own. Not only just with the JROTC and their representation at the national level, but recently she's been presenting at a national level on school dropouts and on her MTSS work. So we're very excited about that. I think we got a presentation about a little bit of that from Ms. Dowdle tonight, sharing with us a little bit about what's going on. But Miss Bennett will represent us, and now she'll go ahead and move forward in the regional event, where I think she's a viable candidate to represent us as a regional winner, as well as when I wrote the recommendation letter, I couldn't think of a better state winner. So we wish you the most success, and I think you can certainly do it. Let's give her a round of applause.
This means a lot to me as someone who came to McDowell County Schools 7 years ago. And I've taught in a different school system up till then, and McDowell County has welcomed me just like I've been here my entire life. And the students here are wonderful. And again, as someone who's been outside of the county, the programs that are in McDowell County Schools far exceed any that I have seen. And we are all student-centered, and that's the thing that I'm going to take this to work tomorrow, because I've had a lot of students come by to ask me to see my major award. So I'm going to, this is for them. And if, we're all here because we love our kids. And that's in the forefront of all of our hearts. So thank you very much.
We'll continue on then with our meeting this evening. And the next item on our agenda is a report from our teacher representative, who is also our countywide Teacher of the Year, Miss Mary Ann Basney.
So I am talking about West McDowell Middle School today, and they have tons of great stuff happening in their building. And I just have a few highlights, and then I have some great students who are going to come up and talk about a really cool project that they've done in class. I'm really excited about that. lots of great things at West. The first thing up, their student council had a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. They raised around $350 for that. And then one of our coaches, Coach Caparasso, had a group of student athletes that went to Early Head Start and helped spread mulch and work on some landscaping. I've got a couple photos up there from both of those events. The trunk or treat event that we had at MHS was a huge success, and West collected candy for their booth for that as well, and had a great turnout. Their 8th graders also participate in a career cafe during their lunch, and they learn about future opportunities in our area. We have some community participants that come in to talk about what they do, job opportunities that they may have, and this is held during their lunch. They're able to go in, ask questions, and get some ideas for their future. So they've had that this month as well. I thought this was neat. They have 2 8th grade social studies teachers that have a new way to simulate gentleman warfare with some of their history with dodgeball. And they sent me a few photos of that, and they said the students had a blast with that. That was Mr. Garden and Mr. Ramsey for their classes. Miss Crawley's classes have a wonderful project to tell you about, and I don't want to steal any of their spotlight, but a few are here to tell you about their learning, and I've got a few photos to go along the way to talk about those.
Hey everybody, I'm Carson Buchanan, and this is
Trenton Huskins.
and we're all here to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing in our 7th grade science class with Miss Crawley. We've been talking a lot about monarch migration because right now monarchs are endangered, so we've been trying to raise a little awareness for that and learn about it and get more students involved with it. One of the activities we've been doing is the posters that you see on the screens. Students got to imitate being a monarch butterfly and walked around the school and saw these posters going to state and reaching their final destination in Mexico. And that's all I need to say. I think we're going to present our poster to y'all now. So some state facts that we have written down was the cultures, famous places, and some celebrity figures, founders, and famous cities and well-known cities. The main cultures in North Carolina is the African American musical culture and the Appalachian music and craft. Some famous places that you probably heard of: Chimney Rock State Park, Biltmore and Asheville, the Pisgah National Forest. Some celebrity figures: Michael Jordan, Luke Combs, Randy Travis, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. The founder of North Carolina is Sir Walter Raleigh, which the capital of North Carolina is Raleigh, which is named after him. Some well-known famous cities: you got Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Durham, Raleigh, and more. And now Trent's gonna tell you about milkweed.
Okay, so what is milkweed? Milkweed is a plant with a white sap inside the leaf. It is poisonous to others and is pretty much the only food source for monarch butterflies. Pass it over to Adam.
Oh, sure.
Hi, my name is Abigail Dalton. I'm in Madison County. We're doing Georgia. Today we're going to go over the 4 generations and some fun facts about Georgia. The first generation is the new spring generation. It begins the yearly cycle and starts all over again. Males and females mate in April late. The second, third, and fourth generations. Several generations of monarchs may be born during the summer, depending on the temperature and the weather. The first 2 third generations live only a few weeks, but the fourth generation lives about 6 to 8 months. The fourth generation is born in October and September and goes through exactly the same process as the first, second, and third generations before going out. The fourth generation is bigger than the normal one. Here is an example. Fun fact about Georgia. Georgia is the largest state east of the Mississippi River. There are 12 different cotton groves. The world's deepest cave found in Georgia. The peach state produces a lot more peanuts, blueberries, and pecans than it does peaches.
did a wonderful job. Thank you so much for coming up to talk about your projects. And thank you, Miss Crawley, for putting that together. I know I could not have done that justice to explain it to the depth that they did, and they did a wonderful job. Next month, I have a presentation to talk about Early Head Start, our Universal Pre-K program, and the Smart Start programs in our county. Thank you, guys.
Just a quick question for our students and Ms. Crawley. Do y'all actually like take a day and count how many monarchs you see on a particular day, like they do a bird count in the spring?
No, we raise some in the classroom, but now they'll tell me if they see. We've actually seen a lot at West McDowell because we have a butterfly garden there. So we planted milkweed in the fall, and we've probably seen about 20. So every day we would see monarchs flying around the front of the school, which is pretty awesome. And then we have 3 milkweed gardens at the Greenway as well. So.
Okay, good,
Right.
good. All right.
I just want to thank you for this segment of our meeting, because if it weren't for what we've just seen over the last 10 to 15 minutes, we would have no reason to be a school system. And I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing. You know, I found myself just getting pretty emotional about a lot of stuff that's happened in our system over the last couple of weeks. To Ms. Robinson and Dr. Klein, I want to thank you guys especially for what you've done and shepherded your staff through and your students through, and those relationships. Old Fort Elementary, as I've said, since I've been able to be on the board, Glenwood had my professional heart through my entire career, but Old Fort Elementary will always have my personal heart. And it's an honor to me to get to be a little bit of a part of you. And Ms. Bennett, for the way that you've shepherded our flagship school, we appreciate that. And then kids, man, I'm telling you what, y'all are why we do this. And so I just had to say that because I could just feel it well enough. And I just thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear of all the good things that are going on in our school system every day.
All right. Okay. Well, next this evening is a presentation from Ms. Dowdle, our Human Resources Director.
Good evening.
Come on.
You ready for? Okay, I didn't know if you were going to say anything real sweet about me, so I was giving you just a minute. So.
She did dress up and visit schools as Glenda the Good Witch.
That's exactly right. So good evening, Mr. English, Miss Meemaw, Dr. Grant, and members of the board. I am so excited to be able to share with you tonight what I'm going to share, because when I was a principal, my favorite thing to tell folks, because it's 100% the truth, is that there are great things going on in our school every single day. And I was honored as a principal to be able to see that at a school level, but looking at it as a district level is even more exciting. So our presentation tonight is all the places you'll go, but it's the McDowell County Schools version of that. So I get to highlight tonight the MCS staff and where they have all gone this year. And we have had the opportunity as a district to present at regional, state, and national conferences, which is a huge accomplishment for our folks. And so our first group of folks that I'd like to recognize, and what I'm going to do is just ask them to stand up while I read out about what they've done, and that is our Foothills Community School. We had Miss Lori Petit, Miss Katie McFarland, and Miss Tasha Ramsey to present at the Ames Conference, and the Ames Conference is a state conference, and it AIMS stands for Accelerate and Invigorate and Motivate. It is a huge conference that folks all over the state of North Carolina attend. The session title that they presented on was How to Motivate the Mental Child. And so their session, they spoke about what they do best, what they do each and every day at Foothills Community School. They talked about the opportunities that they offer students through clubs, competitive groups, projects, families, the house system, and other avenues. They not only talked about building relationships between teachers and students, but the importance of building and fostering relationships between adults. They were honest and had a ton of fun. They received amazing feedback
from people across the state, and they did their very best to not only represent Foothills Community School, but McDowell County Schools in a positive manner. And I know for a fact that they did an outstanding job. So let's just give them a round of applause. The next group I like to represent, I'm not sure that any one of them are here tonight, but that's okay, is our CTE staff. So we had Miss Sophie Vorse, who was our agriculture teacher, and Miss Mary Finley, who is our CTE director, present at the 2023 CTE Summer Conference. And so Miss Vorse presented on best practices for middle school agricultural classrooms. She shared resources and strategies on topics from FFA program management, classroom content, career development, event training, and much more. Each participant came with an idea and was able to share that in a group to brainstorm together. Miss Mary Finley did a session on the fifth grade career awareness activities, initiatives, and programs that we do right here in McDowell County Schools. Ms. Finley also presented at the 2023 Fall CDC SPC Conference. She was a roundtable speaker, and how they were chosen is that they chose exemplars from around the state of North Carolina and visionaries to share their innovative practices through this roundtable. So she actually got to sit on a panel where they were able to ask questions about what we were doing here in McDowell County and truly be a leader statewide. At the bottom right, you can see Miss Sarah Wheels presented at the 2023 Teacher Heart Out Conference. This was a national conference in Las Vegas, and she shared about the CTE business class and coffee shop at the middle school. So we are super proud of all of these folks. So let's give them a round of applause. They're not here. Next, I'd like to recognize Miss Melora Bennett. Miss Bennett presented at the 33rd National Dropout Prevention Conference. She spoke specifically about the multi-tiered system of support at the secondary level, and she talked about a systematic approach. And so attendees to her session left with a multitude of ideas that can be implemented in schools. They learned about McDowell High School's journey through implementing multi-tier system of the support, the strong start in 2018, restructuring in the school in 2020, and getting back on track in the 22-23 school year. The session highlighted academic best practices, behavioral supports, and social emotional learning that can be duplicated in any secondary school. And that took place in Orlando, Florida. So let's give Miss Bennett a round of applause. Next up, we have Miss Michelle Baker and the staff of Eastville Global Magnet School. Miss Baker and Miss Sharon Chapin and Miss Tiffany Barker presented at NC PAPA, which stands for North Carolina Principals and Assistant Principals Association. And they presented their description of their session was about no surprises at the finish line. So Eastville Global Magnet School has been using EVOS data projections for 4th and 5th graders to track NC check-in scores, beginning, middle, and end of year, as well as common assessment data from SchoolNet for 3 school testing cycles. Each tracking spreadsheet has been valid and reliable in knowing the outcome with performance and growth. Classroom teachers that consistently exceed growth will also share how high expectations and item analysis to beat some incredible odds within those projections. Ms. Baker also presented at the Hunt Institute. This is a national webinar that she presented on, and the topic she used was using school meals to fuel academic excellence. And so you can capitalize on mealtime and seize opportunities to make lunch and breakfast an event for students and build relationships with students. We already know how important good nutrition is. Only 61% of students at high schools in our nation said they actually felt connected to an adult in the building. So we are taking these two components and putting them together so that kids want to be at school, want to stay in school, and feel better about their day, which is absolutely going to fuel academic success. The third conference that Miss Baker presented on was the North Carolina Association of School Administrators. This was, she was part of making training videos about conflict of interest scenarios and action steps for principals. So let's give Miss Baker, Miss Chafin, and Miss Barker a round of applause. Next up, we have Miss Crystal Hamby. That's our Executive Director of Elementary Schools and Federal Programs. Sorry, Miss Hamby, that went off. So Miss Hamby presented at the North Carolina Association of Federal Education Program Administration, which is NCFEPA, and she is the state version of the National Association of Federal Education Program Administrators. She was elected as the Northwest Regional Representative in 2019. She was recently elected to Executive Committee as Secretary. She facilitated one of 5 roundtable discussions for the new directors at the NCFEPA Fall Conference. She was one of 6 panelists selected to answer questions from the members at large concerning ESSER, parent and family engagement, compliance, and years of experience learned along the way. So let's give Ms. Hamby a real round of applause. Last but certainly not least, the one who signs our paycheck. So we want to make sure that we really give her a good recognition. And that is Miss Rampy. Miss Suzanne Rampy is a member of NASBO, and NASBO is the North Carolina Association of School Business Officials. Miss Rampy helped to organize and plan the Region 8 Fall Conference. She is also on the Executive Council of NASBO, and so we are very thankful for Miss Rampy and what she does and how she influences others in the state with her training and her expertise. So let's give Miss Rampy another round of applause. I like to leave you with this quote from the famous Dr. Seuss. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you're the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. And that certainly sums up the staff here in McDowell County Schools. Thank you.
You may.
Ms. Daddle, thank you. I just want to recognize the folks that we talked about there. Folks, when I say I've came to a great spot and we've got a great team, I think y'all already knew that, but that presentation certainly gives it justice to know that our folks are serving on those committees, and really you're in the top 8 or 10 people in the state when you're on those committee levels, and our principals being able to go to those national events, it's quite amazing. I'm impressed with it every day. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Congratulations again to all our folks from the board. Next is an update on an alternative program, and Mr. Spivey is going to present that to us. And this is one of the issues that the board identified as being one of the top priorities for the district over this coming year. And Mr. Spivey is here to let us know how we're getting along.
Yes. I just wanted to, it's hard for me to follow my mentor, Amy. She does such a great job that I get a little nervous when I have to follow her. So Chairman English, members of the board, Dr. Grit, I want to thank you for allowing me to update you tonight on the McDowell County Schools on the progress that has been made on our alternative school initiative. And as you mentioned, this is part of the strategic plan that we added this past summer. And give you a brief update of where we are. We still have a lot of work to do, and we'll just go through it. So this past summer, Miss Hamby, Miss MacArthur, and I visited the SCORE Academy in Rockingham County, North Carolina. We also attended the Resilience Summit in Atlanta, Georgia, along with a group of teachers and educators from McDowell County. And then more recently, we attended the Regional Mental Health Summit in Caldwell County. In addition, I had the pleasure of attending the Northwest Regional Reflection Sessions, where alternative school and alternative program leaders share their experience in their own schools, and we have gained valuable insight from area schools doing what we are attempting to build. Through discussions with teachers in his monthly Superintendent Advisory Council meetings, Dr. Gritt saw the need to include our teachers in building this school and help develop the vision and direction. So at his direction, I put together a committee. We meet weekly. It's a team of teachers and administrators from each of the middle schools. We have 2 teachers and an administrator from all 3 of our middle schools, as well as the principal of McDowell High School and 2 of her teachers. In addition, joining our weekly meetings, we have Ms. MacArthur, Ms. Dvorak, and Ms. Antrice Altree, an assistant principal at West McDowell Middle, who has experience in alternative schools. So we have met several times already and are meeting weekly and throughout this process until we can develop this all the way through. Specifically, we are currently focused on developing the school based on the 15 research-based standards from the National Alternative Education Association, the NAEA, and these 15 include vision and mission, leadership, climate and culture, staffing and professional development, curriculum and instruction, student assessment, transition planning, support for parent and family engagement, collaboration, program evaluation, school-based counseling, school social work, digital/virtual learning policies and procedures, and finally, non-traditional education plans. These 15 standards have been aligned with NC STAR key indicators, as well as the Teacher Working Conditions Survey and MTSS connections and competencies, essentially giving us, McDowell County Schools, a blueprint for building a successful school. Furthermore, the National Alternative Education Association has provided many examples of exemplary practices and standards of quality and program evaluation. Our mission is to start small and build a school to support students that are in need. I do not know yet quite how many staff members we will have, but we anticipate that we could serve up to 50 students. In addition to the students who are placed here through disciplinary action, our current plan is also to serve alternative placement students entering McDowell County Schools from other districts and students with more severe mental health placements who are coming from residential placements before entering our traditional schools. In an effort to help address some of the intensive mental health needs, McDowell County Schools has just released an RFP, which is Request for Proposal for Day Treatment Services, that will allow McDowell County Schools to better serve the students who require intensive mental and behavioral health services. Students who are enrolled in this alternative school will have the opportunity to participate in school-based mental health services. The next step for our team will be to continue to attend the regional reflection sessions. The next one is November the 29th. Attend building an alternative education community through communities of practice, meetings, as well as the sessions for administrators new to alternative education. And the next one of those meetings is November the 27th. Finally, we will be looking into alternative education co-op sessions this spring with a focus on applying for grant and resiliency funding to help support our school. Our team will continue to address the needs of all students throughout this process. I want you to know that as we build and develop our vision for an alternative school, transparency and input from all stakeholders will shape the foundation for this school's future. Our goal is to both serve the schools at large as well as the students who will be attending our alternative school. Alternative school education can promote excellence and high expectations within a non-traditional school setting. And finally, one of our goals will be to help realize that developing a productive citizen with employable skills will be an asset to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Spivey,
Yes, ma'am.
to you and the team that have been working on this, thank you very much for the work that you're putting into this and how seriously you're taking this. You know, before I had an opportunity to serve on the board, I remember sitting out there and listening as Tracy Widman had brought a couple of the students from her program who had been, sent to the alternative school. And one student in particular had talked about how he was 2 years behind educationally, and that when he had the opportunity to go to the alternative school, that they were able to work with him in a setting that was safe enough that allowed him not only to not just growth, but to catch it all the way back up within just a very short time. And so we recognize as a board how very important it is, not just for those students and in the broader milieu, but those students. Sorry, I kind of did that reverse there for a second, but and so I want to say thank you to the team that is working so very hard, because we recognize this is an opportunity for us to support a particular demographic within our community who needs additional support. And it gives us an opportunity to make sure every kid in the county gets an equitable education or an equitable opportunity to an education. And that program is one I think that is going to go a long way for a lot of our kids. So thank you for the team. Thank you, Dr. Grit, for kind of leading that as well. But it's important, and we're grateful that you guys are working so hard to be a part of that.
And I would like to thank Ms. Widman for being part of our team. She is sharing her expertise and her experience at every meeting. And, I wasn't here in the county when we started the ALC, but I was here when it ended. And I'll say that a lot, probably the overwhelming majority of her kids, wanted to stay with that program. And that tells me that these kids finally felt successful. They finally felt it was a niche for them, and they felt comfortable where they were. And so that's a testament to the program that Ms. Widman and her teachers built. And that's what we're looking to do. We want to give kids who maybe need an alternative placement or need a place they can be successful and feel comfortable in, because they'll grow there.
Well, I'd like to say on behalf of the board too, we want the public and our staff to know that we have charged you folks with giving this your deepest consideration, because we want it to work right when it finally gets cranked up. And so this isn't an undertaking that was begun lightly.
No, sir. And through the direction that the board gave Dr. Grit and through his leadership, we're looking at all facets. I should have said earlier, and I apologize, and if you don't know this, this is a 6-12 undertaking, so middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. I need to make sure that we're clarifying, that everybody's understanding. Right. We're talking secondary. But yes, I think with the strategic plan that was laid out, that this fits 3 or 4 of those big bullet items that we're working on continually to support our strategic plan, and we'll have this up and running for you.
Right. And as much as it will be helpful and supportive to those students that need that placement, it will be helpful and supportive to other students across the district as
Absolutely.
well.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Helms, do you have something? You look like you wanted to say something. Okay. All right. Okay. Anything further for Mr. Spivey?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. You just act like you was busting.
No, I'm not busting.
All right.
You're doing a great job.
Okay. Okay. Next, item 9 is correspondence. And Ms. Smith, do we have any correspondence? We don't have any correspondence. Okay. Now, item 10 is request to address the board in public comment. And item 11 is public input on policies related to State Law 2023-106, which is the Parents' Bill of Rights. And we have 2 folks who want to address the board this evening, one under public comment and one under public input on the policies related to the Parents' Bill of Rights. Is that right, Mr. Wall? Public input on the policies. Okay. All right. So we'll begin with request to address the board under public comment. And we have Mr. Donnie Poole would like to address the board regarding sports programs. And so what's the pleasure of the board? Would the board care to hear Mr. Poole this evening? Okay.
Second that.
And Ms. Mumal makes the second. Is there any discussion? If not, then all in favor? And the motion carries. Mr. Poole, you can please stand at the podium. And when you signed up, I'm sure you read here that this is your chance to tell the board what's on your mind. And the board is here to listen. And it's not our purpose to respond or question except to clarify points that we may be a little unclear on. Also, you need to remember that if you're here to speak about issues regarding a particular student or employee, that's something you need to have a private conversation with our superintendent about, okay? Now, you're allowed 3 minutes, and I also need to tell you that we ask everyone that addresses the board to be mindful that we encourage families and our younger students to watch our meetings online and attend, and we give them some credence here when we say that we respect your right to give us your viewpoint on any issue related to the schools, but we also ask you to be mindful of the rights of those families of young children. And so we, again, want to make sure you understand that we ask you to make your points without making explicit comments. And also that you are welcome, if you feel you haven't been fully heard by the board, you are welcome to email the board through our superintendent, Dr. Grit. Now, Ms. Dowdle is our official timekeeper, and when you're getting close to 3 minutes, she may say, 30 seconds. Okay.
If you could just give me just a minute prior to my 3 minutes just to
Sure.
introduce myself. All the board members, Doctor, I would just want to thank all you guys and ladies for serving our county and everything that you do. My name is Donnie Poole. I go by Charlie. I'm a 1995 graduate of McDowell High. I'm a retired Marine. I'm from Leicester, North Carolina, out in Asheville. I moved here when my dad was killed in 1985. My mom died in 1992. And I was emancipated as a 15-year-old and raised my 6-year-old little sister. And now I'm currently retired. I'm currently a retired Marine. Me and Lucy, this is my service dog. We were both in the Marine Corps together. I sued to get her back. I just want to give you a little bit of background and thank you for your service to our county. The next thing that I would like to cover is I was part of a legacy in this school system in sports where we won and won and won. And for the last 28 years, we have not been winning. We've had one winning season in 28 years. That was in 2012, we went 8-3. We have a problem here, and we all know that the football program brings the most money into our schools. And I'm proud of what I heard tonight of our NJROTC and everything else, and our principals. But we're failing, and we're failing our kids. If it was not for our sports program from elementary all the way up, I'd be nobody today. I wouldn't. I had coaches who come pick me up when I would walk all the way to high school football practice, things like that. What are we doing to make a difference? In 28 years, we have had 6 coaches. The most winning high school in North Carolina is an hour from here. They have won 23 state championships. An hour another way is Mount Airy, North Carolina. They are either in it or win it. Then another hour away is Shelby, North Carolina, the Golden Lions. They have had 5 or 3 coaches in their school's history. What are we doing to change it? Kids are being skipped to go to college. The coaches won't even make a video for them for pro football or college football. From my class, 1995, the last time we won, everybody either served their country, started a business, played pro football, went to college. Dwayne Ledford, he's the offensive coordinator or offensive line coach for the Atlanta Falcons right now. We are failing our kids in football. What are we doing? Our athletic director has no power. He should be talking and be in charge of the junior highs. The junior highs are operating independently. Could I have 2 more minutes? I'm asking for 2 more minutes.
How about one?
One. I'll do it. They're operating independently. We need to get an athletic director in, and the vote needs to happen so that that athletic director can go from each school and be in charge of that. And they don't answer to the principal, they answer to you, doctor. People are saying that it's because we don't have business and everything here. Yancey County's in Burnsville. They've been, for the last 3 seasons, they've been 10 and something or 9 and something. They have one business up there. That's not an excuse. We need to make a positive change here. What are we doing? My last question to every one of y'all is if the vote came up or a survey, let's put a survey out there so that the community.
Gotcha. I think we know what you're trying to say. Thank you, Mr. Poole. Thanks again for coming. All right. Okay. Next, we have a request from Mr. Chris Wall to speak to the board under public input on policies related to the Parents' Bill of Rights. And Mr. Wall, it's the pleasure of the board to hear Mr. Wall in public input.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Ms. Mumal makes the motion. Ms. Helms makes the second. Any discussion? If not, then all in favor? The motion carries. Mr. Wall, the floor is yours. You remember too that this is your time to make the board aware and give input. You have 3 minutes to speak. And I also need to tell you that this, and to clarify for the public, there is a 30-day window for public input on our policies to help us institute or implement, I guess is the word I'm looking for, those policies necessary to support the Parents' Bill of Rights that was recently passed by the state legislature. And so, the board will now hear comments and input directly related to the policy revisions before us dealing with the Parents' Bill of Rights. And in compliance with the new law, we're seeking input from staff, parents, and community members regarding these policies. Please limit your comments to issues directly related in the policies in the Parents' Bill of Rights, which are as follows. Policy on parental involvement, policy on parental inspection and objection to instructional materials, policy regarding comprehensive health education program, the policy 4335 regarding criminal behavior, surveys of students, student health services, and staff responsibilities. And as with all public comments, we ask that you be respectful and understand that we're here to listen to you. And so, Mr. Wall, the floor is yours, and you can tell us what you need us to know.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to speak, Mr. Dr. Grit and the school board. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I've been here a lot, learned a whole lot, and appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. I was looking over the policy, parental involvement policy, and I have to apologize. The copy that I have was the first reading. It was given to me September the 11th. I'm sure there's been some changes to this, and I do not have those changes with me. But one of the things that I wanted to bring out, one of the things that I wanted to say was, I worked a lot, worked all my life. And there's a couple of things that I can't stand. I can't stand to work with somebody that gripes all the time and doesn't do anything about it. I can't stand for somebody just to fuss and gripe about this or gripe about that, and then they just do nothing about it. I think a lot of times they could put some of that gripe and effort into fixing the problem, and that would be better off. I've worked with people, I'm just like, we could have had this fixed instead of standing there fussing about. Let's get involved with this and let's do something about it. I was reading over the policies and procedures and stuff, and I'm not going to get into all those. There's one section here that I am going to look at, the parental involvement. That would be section 1310/4002. And I will be brief. I would give you my 2 minutes. But all I want to say is, I'm not just addressing the board. I'm addressing the citizens of McDowell County as well. Those that are concerned, those concerned citizens, concerned parents, and organizations that are out there. I'm addressing them. Reading over this policy, and I have to give roses where roses are due. There's a lot of things in this policy that are requiring parental involvement and is involving the county participation. And I think it's time for us. It is in the policy. They're going to open the door. The door is open for parental involvement, for citizens to come in and help. And I think it's time that we stepped in and helped any situation that may be. And like I said, I'm just tired of people fussing, and I just want to see some involvement because the opportunity is there. According to this read that I have dated September the 11th, it says there at the very bottom of page number 1 of 1310/4002, it says collaboration with community agencies, other organizations to provide resources, strengthen programs, families, student, and learning. And all those sections that you talked about, this section right here, there's 15 pages to this section talking about parental involvement. Mm-hmm. And the other pages like 2 pages, 3 pages. But there's 15 pages involved in parental involvement and participation in the school. And it's time that we got involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wall. We'll move along then, and since we've had taken some public input on Parents' Bill of Rights policies, Ms. Dowdle is here with some updates to the policies that we've been considering to help us comply with the law.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. English, Miss Mom, Dr. Grit, and members of the board. I don't have a ton for you tonight. We did have our first read of policies back on September 11th. And then on October 9th, we did have a revision, and that revision was to policy 3540, the Comprehensive Health Education Program, where we added some language and presented that on October 9th. Now, because of that second date of October 9th, we have to have 30 days for these policies to be available before they voted on. Today is the 28th day, so it's not quite 30 days. And so what we're going to do is take these policies and we will put them on the December meeting agenda to be approved. So just wanted to update you on that.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dowd. Next, under unfinished business, is a resolution to support the My Future NC attainment goal. Dr. Grit, I'll let you speak to that.
Okay. We had Dr. Case who came and talked with us about the My Future NC and the attainment goal of 2 million by 2030. Since then, she has also spoken at a couple of different places and is on the agenda in a few more to do this exact same resolution. And as a part of this, recently we met as a county to begin their strategic planning as well. So really all these things tie together. And I would ask you guys in your packets that you'll to take a peek there. You'll see where we actually had approved a resolution similar to this in the past with My Future NC. And the one that she shared with us from the presentation last month is just a little more detailed. And I think it really it puts those goals in there, those stretch goals in there for us. And I won't insult anybody's intelligence. You all have had an opportunity to look at those and to review those. But I think it would be great on our part if we could make that recommendation for this resolution.
Okay. So is there a motion to support the My Future NC, the resolution to support?
Motion to support the My Future NC resolution.
Okay.
Second.
And Ms. Mumal makes the second. Is there any discussion? Anyone have any questions or clarifications? And Dr. Grit, perhaps, for the sake of the public here and on the viewing by YouTube channel, perhaps you could kind of give the shorthand version of what the resolution
I'll do my best
hopes
here.
to promote.
Sure. The goal here is McDowell County Schools is committed to ensuring that 51% of individuals ages 25 to 44 have a post-secondary degree or credential by 2030, and that was that stretch goal that she talked about. And that's important for a number of factors, particularly when you start talking about economic development and being able to support the community, as well as I point out another area. McDowell County Schools supports and adopts a local education attainment goal of 5,972 individuals with a high-quality credential or post-secondary degree by 2030. And really, what you guys saw was numbers in that presentation that were far short of this. So these are those stretch goals that she had placed in there. Obviously, anything we can do to improve would be great. I do want to highlight one thing here, and that is that, and I see we've got our folks from the early college and MAI back there. We graduate a lot of kids with these credentials already. They graduate with their associate's degree at the high school. They do the same as well as these credentials. But one of the things that's important here is 25 to 44 is the age range that they're looking at. A lot of the 25 to 44 year olds are not necessarily coming back to McDowell County. And I think that's the piece that's what's so critical here is it's more than just what we're doing with the school age students. This is a goal that really involves everyone. And I think that's why Dr. Case, in her processes of going through the county as well as to the cities and the townships, that's what that's all about. So those are just a few things I would highlight in this. And I commend the board for getting behind this. I think it's important. I think it's a big goal. But I think it's a worthy goal.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Comments? If not, then all in favor of the motion to support the resolution, and the motion carries. Thank you all. Next up, Mr. Oliver, Colonel Oliver, sir, with the facilities update on the McDowell High School gym and locker room, among other items.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Gritt, school leaders, honored guests, thank you for being here tonight. I want to second a few things that have been said. I want to thank Dr. Gritt for his comments regarding veterans. And one veteran didn't stand. I want to make sure everyone knows that Mr. Terry Frank is a veteran of our armed forces serving in the Air Force. Mr. Frank's too humble sometimes. Dr. Gritt, those were awesome comments regarding veterans. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I also want to echo Dr. Gritt in his words about our team. You've heard a lot of great things tonight from our principals and different groups. And all the schools that were represented tonight, they are demonstrating excellence on a regular basis. And when Dr. Gritt first arrived, I know he heard from a lot of people, and he and I have talked about it a lot. We have a wonderful team. We have a great team here. And I'm really proud to be part of this team. I'm proud of all the hard work that our folks do. And all the accolades that come in are well deserved. So thank you. So part of that team is our operations staff. And tonight I get the honor each month to talk about what we're doing on the operations side. And mostly that's maintenance. It's not all maintenance. It also includes transportation, which is 8 people total, 5 technicians that support our fleet. It also includes school nutrition, which is at the district level is 4 people, and then all the folks that work in our cafeterias at each school. How important is that? How important is our bus fleet and getting kids to and from school? And then the other part that I get to talk about is maintenance. We also include technology in operations, but Garrett usually covers technology on his own because he talks about things I don't know how to talk about. So but they all do a great job, and we're proud of what they do. But you know, all the things that happen in maintenance throughout our county, the maintenance staff is 19 total. 17 of those are the specialists, the technicians. Mr. Tranks and Diana are the office staff for the maintenance department. But 17 people, all the things that you hear about, there's 17 people who make all that happen. And we have a lot of facilities for only 17 people to support. So I'm really proud of what they do. We'll start with a few updates. Garrett, do you have those photos ready? Awesome. So we'll just start with some photos of some of the things. So these are photos from today. And I've captured the baseball team this afternoon working on shagging flies. Coach Smith was using the machine to send some fly balls to the outfield, and they were all practicing catching fly balls out on the multi-purpose field. This is the fencing that's going to be in front of the JROTC building that will protect our multi-purpose field, but also protect that facility, and it gives us a little more security back there in that part of the campus, and it's really going to be nice. It's going to look great. The sidewalk there will not have a fence. That will be walk-through for pedestrians, but the gate will be to the right of that, and then fencing will go from to the left up to the wall. So that's going to look really good. Okay, Gary. So this is our new fencing, and at the field house, this is some safety purpose fencing that we added. Dr. Gritt noticed this when he first arrived when we were doing a walkabout at the high school, and those walls there beside the field house are pretty high. I'm up above that, but on the other side, it's a pretty fair drop off those ledges there. So we put some fencing there to keep students from sitting on that ledge and maybe falling off, and that was a good move. That looks really good. So a couple different angles there. Thanks, Garrett. All right, now we'll move to the tennis complex project, and wow, what great progress has taken place there. So you can see the rear 3 courts have been painted now. I think they still need one more coat for both colors, and then the forward courts, they should be finished with all of that painting later this week. You can see the fencing there at the roadway. You see the new pavement and the striping for the area that's marked off for pedestrian traffic, walkers up and down the hill. You can see the fencing around the facility. The fences around the courts are completed. Go ahead and keep clicking, Garrett. I'll try to keep up. That's just an overall view. All right, there you see the new fencing around the courts. The gates are in now, and all the fencing is now complete. That's in front of the courts toward the building. Now we're inside the building, and it's really coming along. The painting's done, the floors are done, the drywall is complete. All the plumbing and electrical should be finished this week, and we'll be ready for inspection soon for the building and the infrastructure of the facility. You see another fence there that's at the crest of the hill that goes down toward the West McDowell Middle School softball field, and also down to the new lift station that's down there behind that field. That's another added feature to protect our folks and also protect the grounds. Just another shot of the building back toward the tree line as well. HVAC in that part of the building. Infrastructure in the rear, and there's a shot up the hill, coming back up the hill from the tennis complex. And then we're back to the fencing. So I wanted to give you an update of where all that is, where the status of that project. We're in really good shape right now to be totally finished before the 1 December target date. So that's looking really good. We're real excited about how that's all coming together. A few other things I wanted to touch on, and then I'm going to ask you to look at a project we're working on, another project we're working on at the high school. So, I know that you received these notes, but just some thoughts about a week of what goes on with our maintenance folks. So electricians worked on various work orders and outdoor pole lights at West McDowell Middle School with the bucket truck. Also doing work orders on items found on fire inspections on the exit and emergency lighting in the schools. So we've had fire inspectors from the local level and the state level recently, and anything that we find, we have to correct. And our folks do a great job of making those corrections and keeping up with all that, and that's incredibly important that we do that, as you know. Our ground crew has been cutting and chipping trees around the back staff parking lot at West Middle and at the light poles. They're now down at McDowell High School cutting back trees on the outfield fence and the score clock for the baseball field, all the way around to the greenhouse. So a lot of work going on there. We've had good weather, which allows our grounds crew to do a lot of work a little bit later in the year than normal. So, and we've had dry weather, which allows work too. Our plumbers have been working on various work orders for the schools and the kitchen. Had to take the jitter and unclog the main sewer line in the pre-K wing of the lower left building at Eastfield. And they've also been installing new bottle filler water coolers at Eastfield and at Pleasant Gardens. Carpenters have been working on various work orders on door locks and broken windows and installing the new electronic roll paper towel dispensers in Marion Elementary. Those have been a really nice improvement everywhere, the automatic paper towels. That's it's so much more safe for our kids and hygienic. So we're really glad that that's happening. We'll use ESSER funds for that. Thank you, Ms. Hamby, for your coordination of those funds. Our painters are now painting at West McDowell Middle School in various classrooms and offices. If you've been to McDowell High School, you've seen tons of new paint all over the campus. Really looks good. So just some things that are going on. There's a lot of other things that have been happening. One thing I heard about today that I didn't know about is that we had an emergency installation of a changing table. I think it was at Nebo. Is that right? So the need was identified, and we had the changing table installed, I think, the next day. So our folks are incredibly responsive to the needs of our buildings. So at this time, I want to brief you, and we're going to ask you for your approval of the project at McDowell High School for the gym and the locker rooms. Give you something to look at. Now the folks on the Building and Grounds Committee, they've already heard most of this. They didn't hear the final dollar figures, but they heard all the things that were being worked on. And Mr. Suttles, thank you for your leadership of the Building and Grounds Committee and the effort that you've put into the projects, both the tennis court and multipurpose field projects, this project that we're working on, but also what you did with the EC playground at McDowell High. That was huge. And then at each elementary school with the reading hammocks, those pods. I think every elementary school has really enjoyed having those hammocks. So that's all been really, really good for our district and good for students. The thing about anything that we're talking about right now impacts a lot of kids, a lot of students. I shared the photos of the multipurpose field because it's amazing how many students are using that field. It really is. And then one of the shots of the fencing, I don't know if you can tell, but there were over 100 students from PE out using the track today in the beautiful weather. So we probably had 300 kids outside on those two sites this afternoon, and really thankful that they have the ability to do that. As we look at the project, you'll see the notes from Mr. Trinks and what he sent to me, and we can go through that. LED lights for the main gym and top balcony, 5603, 52. That sounds really low. It is low. We're getting a huge rebate for the lighting because we're moving to LED from Duke Energy. So Mr. Trinks worked really hard with the rep to make sure that we were getting that rebate. The lift that we need to access or to be able to work on the lights at the very top of the gym is $1,500. We don't have our lift is not working properly. We don't trust it right now to be safe, and the lift has to be at least 30 feet capability for us to access those highest lights. LED lights for the boys and girls dressing room, plus coaches' offices and old weight room. That's $7,304. New bathroom partitions in each locker room, boys and girls, plus new mirrors, $20,000. We're still waiting on the actual quote for that. That's Mr. Trinks' educated estimate on what that's going to run based on what we've paid before, with a little built in because we know things have gone up. New plumbing fixtures, which include sinks, commodes, grab bars, new shower heads and spigots, plus new bottle filler water cooler, $12,500. Drop ceilings replaced in the old weight room and girls' dressing rooms, $28,000. Painting of walls and ceilings in boys and girls' locker rooms, $4,000. New doors to each of the boys' dressing rooms, plus a door to secure off the shower room with new door locks, $16,000. New floor and wall tile in each of the boys and girls' dressing rooms. Demo the wall tile and then install the new floor tile over the existing tile and lay new tile back on walls up to the existing level. When we first got our quote back on the tile work, that first quote came in at over $200,000, around $214,000. And I know the folks on the committee remember that. We were able to adjust that cost, bring it down to $150,000, which is a huge savings. And it still allows us to go back with tile, which when you're talking about long term, tile is your most durable option. So the total projected cost is $244,908. Now we have DPI grant funds on hand, and according to Ms. Rampy, that amount is $99,378, which is a really good amount that we still have on hand from DPI grant funds for athletics upgrades. Our projected cost was $244, so if you subtract that, the funds that we need is $145,530 for the actual project, with a recommended contingency, which is 10%, which is $14,553. So we're requesting for approval of funding an amount of $160,083 that the board needs to approve in funds. And the total project approval, including the funds that we already have through the DPI grant, is $259,461. So I'm recommending to Dr. Gritt that we request of the board of approval of these amounts so that we can move forward. A lot of this work is already moving forward. The lights we'll start the installation on the lights because the amount is so low. We're starting that work this week, but we're requesting the board's approval for the total project so that we can move forward.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Let me say this too, if I can piggyback.
Sure.
This is much needed. Ms. Mumal had a chance to take a look at it too, but those locker rooms, wow, 1975, 74. So this is a really needed project, and so I do want to make the motion that we approve this to take care of that and the LED lightings in the gym to make everything brighter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Second that from the finance committee.
All right.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Just to echo Mr. Settle's comments, it's long overdue.
Long time.
It is.
Okay. None others then, all in favor of the motion for $160,083 to carry out the project.
Awesome.
And Mr. Oliver, is there a anticipated timeline when we might be able to get all this done? I know basketball season and all's coming up, so it might be hard.
Well, Mr. Tranks has worked out a schedule with Mr. Franklin at the high school, Coach Franklin.
Good.
And they've worked out a plan to stagger the work in different spaces so that operations can still go on for the teams and the classes.
Good.
As far as when we'll actually be complete, I can't tell you. I do
understand.
feel confident that we can have the lighting in place prior to the first game, and maybe even much sooner than that.
Good.
But a lot of the other work will take more time.
All right. Okay. Anything else from Mr. Oliver that the board needs?
Thank you for that update, sir.
Thank you.
Okay then. Next item number 13 is new business, and we have no new business that requires official action. So this is an appropriate time for board members to make their various reports to the board. And
I'll go ahead and kick it off if that's okay. Since we were on buildings and grounds anyway.
Good.
Perfect timing. But I want to say too, Mr. Wall's leaving, but I want to thank him for his comments too. Quit griping and do something about it. There's a lot of people in McDowell County that do that, and I like to hear that. So, Mr. Poole too, thank you for your comments about athletics. I've had over 200 calls since I took the board, and he's the first one that I've said, just come address the board, and he actually showed up. So, thank you, Mr. Poole. Buildings and grounds. So, first of all, I want to say this to Mr. Oliver. I made the comment in our committee meeting to Mr. Oliver and to Mr. Trinks in that meeting. I wanted all the board to know. I told them how much I appreciated them really jumping on things over the last year. It is very, very noticeable around our system. You know, we have a lot of old buildings in the school system, and the maintenance crew has really jumped on it over the last year. And we really do appreciate that and all the updates that you give us. And I'm not, like Mr. Trink said, maybe they did stuff in the past and we just didn't know about it, but we're knowing about it now and we're really seeing it. So thank you on that part. Buildings and Grounds Committee did meet. We talked about the gym lighting and the locker rooms. The second thing we talked about was in mid-November, DPI will put out grant opportunities for related projects. These are capital projects, brick and mortar projects that we can apply for grants for, and you can do it every 2 years. So we're going to be checking into those in mid-November. The next thing, the committee agreed to contact Mr. Watson to discuss a 10-year long-range plan that we did previously. And we really covered the elementary schools, and now we want to further that into the middle schools and high school. So with the board, we said that we would like to go ahead and go down that road too. In the next 2 years, if we are shovel ready, DPI is going to create an opportunity that will allow up to $42 million if we merge schools. The board talked about possibly merging schools with maybe Marion Elementary and Eastfield and some other projects that we may do. So this will help us open up talks to further, gain ideas, I guess, so to speak, about possibly doing that if there's a $42 million grant out there to help us. So that's exciting news. And the next thing we talked about, to follow up with Mr. Spivey, we all agreed that we need to look at possible sites outside of our facilities to house the alternative school. And we've got some good ideas and some opportunities to do that. So as far as building the grounds, that's what we have.
Okay. So, Head Start, we got a bunch of committees been meeting recently and stuff. Okay, so Ms. Silver,
Okay.
what are you going to start with?
Well, I'll follow up with, it's not really a committee, but it was a meeting that Dr. Gritt and Kim Effler and I had. Kim Effler is with the McDowell County Chamber of Commerce, and this kind of all segues together. I also want to echo what Mr. Settle said to Mr. Poole and Mr. Wall. Thank you for taking your time to come and address the board. I've been in the exact position that you were in, and I felt like I had more to say, and my time limit ran out. And so thank you guys for coming and speaking and doing that. And like Mr. Settle says, for just being concerned enough to come here and share your thoughts. To echo what Mr. Wall was saying about parental involvement, I think that's sort of where this meeting between Dr. Gritt and Ms. Effler and I came about. Is just how can we as a community show the commitment that we have to our school system. Our school system's not an island that is out here trying to do for our children, and then we have our community doing other things. We're all working together for the same goal, and that's to make sure that our kids, from our earliest childhood learners all the way to our 13-year seniors, what are we doing as a community? So we've talked about something that we're excited about, and that is to begin to work with the McDowell County Chamber of Commerce and our Rotary to find ways that we can adopt schools in the county. And we had a really good first meeting about how we want to go about doing this, looking at just like what you said about Yancey County Schools, where you have the one business, but everybody is on board to try to make sure that we're all accomplishing the same goals. And so we're hoping this spring, we're looking, first of all, I know we've done a lot of talking about our high school, but that's our flagship. I remember during my time at Glenwood, we always talked to our kids, even when they came in kindergarten, no, one day you're going to be a Titan, and when you're a Titan, this is what's going to happen, and you're going to be and so we're just trying to merge everybody into that. So we are looking at how can we take a day to have Dr. Gritt talk with the administrators to look at needs that they have. Again, most specifically this year, instead of trying to look at all 15 schools, look at this one school and what can we do. And then Ms. Effler would bring it back to different businesses in the McDowell County Chamber of Commerce, and to be able to say, this is a need and this is what our school is asking for help with. And then the business says, I got you. We've got people, we've got funds, because one thing that I've learned since being on the board, and Miss Rampy may think this is funny, when you're not on the Board of Education, you don't necessarily understand that there is no money tree. We have the money that we have, and that's all that we have. We have 3 funding sources. One of that's the federal government, and every now and then they just decide that they might just shut down. And the other one is the state government that took this year, I think, 3 months past the fiscal year to pass a budget. And then we have our local government. And so when that money is gone and already allocated, we don't have extra money for funds. But we have a lot of businesses in this community that were just like Mr. Poole said, they came through our school system and they want to give back. And so that, I know I'm rambling, but that's exciting to me. There's an entrepreneurship class at McDowell High School that we also want to work with to bring our kids in. Again, how do you give back to the community that's raised you? And what can we do? So we're really excited about this. We think it's got a lot of possibilities. Our biggest focus is beautification. And what can we do to our schools and to our campuses? And one thing, Mr. Oliver, that you said that really rang true with us in that meeting, we don't want to get a project started and then stop and then say to maintenance, hey, we need you to finish this. We want this to be done through this project where we have business leaders and employees and things like that coming in to work, not to make anybody else's job harder, but to maybe take some of the load off that, what did you say, 16, 17 staff? When you're full. And so they already have existing responsibilities with their jobs. This is just a way that we can just, again, build community in that whole sense. So we're really excited about that. It was a great meeting, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, the idea of a day of service is what we were talking about. And that could be service with those businesses or it could be through donations. But Ms. Effler recognized that a number of our businesses already go all in on community service, and they encourage their employees to do that during business hours, which is key. So to be able to capitalize on that and have our schools be the target of that community service, and with our entrepreneurship, I think it's a great opportunity to put those things together. And when you put 100 people on a project in a day, it's kind of amazing how much work you can really get done. So Mr. English would like to have 100 hands milking cows tomorrow morning at 4 a.m.
I've only got 75 cows.
Thank you.
So that's something that we're excited about. And then tag teaming on that with the Head Start, Blue Cross Blue Shield they have been meeting with groups from all 100 counties, and they got to McDowell County a couple of weeks ago. We were the 98th county that they met with. So yeah, there's two left. We were not the last, but there's 2 behind us. They were able to come and meet, and they met with a Child Care Coalition group. And just ironically, Kim Effler from the McDowell County Chamber of Commerce was on at that committee meeting. And the main focus of their conversations with Blue Cross Blue Shield is increasing affordable child care options in McDowell County. This was staggering to me. 1 out of 1,400 children in McDowell County have access to affordable child care. 1 out of 1,400.
Are you sure that's right?
That's what they said on the meeting.
Man,
and actually, your elementary teachers and your pre-K teachers, I'm looking at Miss Hamby, they would tell you how limited affordable child care is. And that's why NC pre-K is so important in making sure that we continue to find funding for that. But yes, 1 in 1,400 children. This is definitely a crisis here. And the main reason for that is affordability. And so what Blue Cross Blue Shield has to offer is funding. And so these meetings are going to continue to try to make a way to get the kids, the most desperate kids that need child care. And it's always that paradigm of, I can't afford to go to work because I can't afford to pay someone to take care of my children. And so if I can't work, then that puts me on a different level as well. And so this is just another exciting opportunity. And then our Head Start staff was in Cherokee at a male engagement conference. The big push here was father figures. They took some male role models that had been in the Head Start community to have the opportunity to just connect with each other. And so it's like we're looking at both ends of that. They want to find a way to make the Head Start program more welcoming and inviting to males in the community. And they don't want it to seem like this program is just trying to find solutions for moms, because we do have single dads that are raising their kids that sometimes feel very isolated. The father to father curriculum that I spoke about last month is the curriculum that trains staff and makes an agenda for how to bring dads in. And Dr. Delaney shared that one of the dads that was at this meeting in Cherokee shared something that he felt like was a little bit, he felt silly sharing it, but it was something that touched him in a negative way, that there was a lot of emphasis made for Mother's Day. Lot of emphasis made for Mother's Day. And Father's Day really didn't get much emphasis at all. And so it's just those little things that you really don't think about, but just having a listening session to see how dads are doing, how to make them feel valued, not to exclude moms at all, but again, just building a partnership with that. Definitely Dr. Delaney and our staff wanted to compliment once again the men of McDowell that Ms. Poupeau shared last month with the West Marion Community Forum and the impact that they're making on children in this community. And hoping to be able to partner with them on that, helping them to find a way to include dads. Because if you think about it, especially in our elementary schools, definitely at Head Start, they have one male that's employed, and that's a custodian. In our elementary schools, that's typically also the only males that they see. A little bit more in the secondary schools. So it's just exciting about all that's going on.
All right. Okay. Mr. Frank, Captain Ross gave us an update on the ROTC program.
On the ROTC, I can give you a little good news on the finance committee.
Well, good.
And I want to piggyback on what you said about the Flensburg exchange program, being a participant of that years ago. Well, not years ago, but a few years ago. We've talked good things. Miss Silver just said some good things. Mr. Suttle said some good things. And I want to say some really good things about our financial people. Thank you. We talked about this cliff we're going to fall off of in 2024. And thank goodness, I am so proud of what Dr. Grid has brought to the table here, along with Ms. Rampy. And that's just to name a couple. That's just a few of those involved in the administrative staff that has kind of put us a safe landing at the bottom of that cliff. It's not completely erected yet, but it sure is comforting to know that it's not as bad as we had initially thought. And Dr. Grit and, of course, Ms. Rampy and the specialized team are continuously working, looking through attrition and other means of money-saving things to kind of bring us to a softer landing. And my hat's off to you, Dr. Grit, especially, and your team. I know you say great things about them, and it's very obvious from that finance committee meeting. I was impressed and a little bit relieved as well. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to talk about very quickly was the Flensburg thing and what Ms. Silver just said about male role models. I was very fortunate that I got to keep 4 of those female students at my house as a single parent. And my daughter then went there and stayed over there. So I see the value of that, but I'll tell you, as a single dad, it was tough trying to cook for those folks. But thank goodness I had been stationed in Germany in the service, and I could speak a little German, and I could also I knew what they liked to eat. So it was just wonderful.
And I'm like you. That is one of the best programs to come to this county. I'm proud of that program.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Mr. Shuford, I understand the endowment committee had a meeting since the last time we were here. Anything to report?
Nothing major, really. We had Dr. Grit there and got to share him with the board, but we got no major business taken care of there. But yeah, had good, well attended. One of our better attended meetings that I've had a chance to be in.
Good. All right. Okay. Well, as you recall from our work session, we did talk some more about a board self-evaluation, and I asked you folks to be thinking about what kind of instrument you would like for us to use as we move forward with this, and just shoot me an email. And so far, I've only heard from Ms. Pupo and Mr. Sulls.
I did that night.
That's
You
right.
said, yep.
You did. I apologize. But so there's three.
We did, right.
There's three. Are there? And perhaps one of y'all all pretty much had the same feeling about the instrument, and that was to use the one recommended by the School Boards Association, but also to include the first part of the instrument that our local community college uses, which deals with communications. So I'm just wondering if that is agreeable with the rest of the board, or would you prefer something else? Or just tell me what's on your mind.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
Okay. All right. So it seems to be the consensus opinion that we'll use the School Boards Association self-evaluation tool for boards, and also the section regarding communications from the Board of Trustees for our community college. And maybe Ms. Smith, you could kind of get us a combined module together and send out. And also, I really think it would be, and it would just be for an individual member's own self-reflection. I really think it would be helpful if each of us could do the individual members' self-evaluation that School Board Association recommended, and perhaps you could include that as well. Now, we also did talk about a potential timeline, and I mentioned that I thought it would be a good idea to distribute the tool at our December meeting, and then or the January meeting, either one, and then have our results tabulated, and we could meet and discuss those at the January work session if the board so desired. So is that agreeable with everyone? Okay. Dang, y'all are easy to get along with tonight. Did I embarrass you on that email?
I apologize.
No problem. Okay. So that was all the board reports that I had. Anyone else? Okay. So we'll move on then to item 14, which is approval of our consent agenda. And of course, everyone knows that any item on that may be pulled from and voted on as a separate issue. So is there anything that we need to consider separately? If not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Ms. Mumal makes the motion and Ms. Pupo makes the second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor? And the motion carries. And now, the board needs to entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to GS 143-318.11 for the following purposes. Under subsection A1, to prevent the disclosure of privileged or confidential student information pursuant to 20 U.S.C. 1232G FERPA and GS 115C-402E, and under subsection A1 to prevent the disclosure of privileged or confidential personnel information pursuant to GS 115C-319-321, which includes employee matters. And so is there a motion to move into closed session for those items?
So moved.
Ms. Mumal makes the motion. Ms. Pupo? Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor of going into closed session? And the motion carries. We'll take just a couple of